Close your eyes and hear this truth. You are not waiting on your desire. Your desire is waiting on you to rise, to elevate, to vibrate at the frequency of what is already yours. The world around you is not fixed. It bends it, molds it, reshapes according to your vibration. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the cause. What you radiate, you attract. If you hold low thoughts, you will see a low world. But when you rise, internally rise, you will see mountains move. Vibration is simply your state of being. You do not manifest through effort, you manifest through alignment. The higher you vibrate, the faster creation flows through you. Joy is a magnet. Gratitude is a portal. Love is a key. These are not emotions, these are frequencies, and the universe responds to frequency, not words. So imagine not lightly, but boldly, with depth, with emotion, with certainty. See yourself already there, already living what you once longed for, not in the future. Now accept it as already done, and your world must obey the moment you feel it real. The unseen goes to work. The invisible becomes visible, but you must not waver. Persist in the assumption, hold the feeling even when appearances lie. Especially when they lie, your job is not to chase or strive. Your job is to become the version of you that already has it. The shift is internal, and when you vibrate higher, manifestation does not take time. It takes acceptance. So today I urge you, stop lowering yourself to match what is fading. Rise to meet what is calling, vibrate higher, and you will manifest faster. Because the moment you become it, it must come to you. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. This is the most misunderstood truth in all of creation. The world around you is nothing more than a mirror, faithfully reflecting back the state. You consistently dwell in people. Believe they must work harder, push more, chase endlessly after what they desire, yet they do not realize that the outer world is secondary. It is the echo. The origin lies within. The secret is not in the doing, but in the being, your inner state. What you feel, assume, and believe to be true about yourself, and life broadcasts a silent frequency. This frequency is your vibration. It is not heard by the ears, but it is registered by reality. The moment you shift your state, the world must shift in response. But because the world seems so solid, so separate, we tend to ignore the invisible cause and blame the visible effect. Desire alone changes nothing. Wanting something, no matter how deeply, does not draw it to you. What draws it to you is becoming the version of yourself who already has it. You must embody the outcome. That is, you must feel the reality of the desire fulfill so deeply that your consciousness cannot distinguish between what is imagined and what is perceived. When you persist in an inner state of lack, you do not move toward your goal. You only deepen the distance. If you feel unworthy, if you feel desperate, if you feel incomplete, those feelings form the vibration you emit in life. Being completely impersonal reflects it back to you in kind. You meet experiences, people, and events that affirm what you are already being inside, but when you deliberately shift inward, something extraordinary happens. When you begin to feel worthy, blessed, and whole. Not because the world gave it to you, but because you decided it. You change your entire vibration. And life, like a loyal servant, must obey. This is why it is said that to him who has more shall be given, because the one who feels abundance attracts abundance. The one who feels love receives love. Not because they seek it, but because they have become it. The inner state is not dependent on conditions, it is the cause of them. You must become quiet enough to recognize what you are vibrating. If you are anxious, pause. If you are worried, observe. If you are bitter, release, and then choose again. Choose deliberately to dwell in peace and faith, in love. The moment you do, you've already moved realities. The world you see may not change instantly, but the blueprint has been altered. Creation is finished. All possibilities exist. Now, the only thing that separates one outcome from another is your alignment with it. And alignment is nothing but sustained vibration. The more consistently you dwell in the inner state of your desire fulfilled, the more quickly it materializes around you. It is not magic, but law. And the law is always working, whether you believe it or not. Do not be fooled by appearances. The world will test your commitment. It will whisper doubt. But stay faithful to your state. Choose to remain in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, no matter what the senses show, because the senses only echo the past. The future is formed in consciousness. Your inner world is the soil. What you water with emotion grows. So stop trying to force the outer world to bend. That is not your task. Your only task is to assume the feeling of your desire is already yours, to vibrate in harmony with it, and to watch calmly, faithfully, As life reshapes to match your new frequency, you are not chasing the dream. The dream is chasing you. Once you become the version of you who already lives it. Emotions are not random. They are not meaningless reactions. Emotions are energy, pure and powerful, flowing through the body like a signal. Like a vibration sent out into the field of creation, they are not simply feelings, they are frequencies. They move, they radiate, they reach out and draw back to you that which matches their essence. This is why emotion is not something to suppress or escape. It is something to understand, to guide, and to use with purpose. Every emotion you experience sends a message to the unseen. When you feel low, when you dwell in fear, anger, shame, or doubt, you are not just having a bad day. You are aligning with the lower frequency reality one that will reflect back to you the very same feeling you are emitting. The outer world mirrors the inner climate. It does not respond to words or desperate affirmations spoken in contradiction to your feelings. It responds to the truth of your emotional state. But what happens when you begin to rise, when you start to cultivate elevated emotions, not as a reaction to circumstances, but as a choice of practice? Everything changes. Gratitude, love, peace, joy. These are not simply pleasant feelings. They are the gateways to higher realities. The moment you feel gratitude, you are telling the universe it is done. I have received. You are no longer begging, no longer waiting. You have become the version of you who lives in the fulfillment of the desire. Love is the purest frequency, not romantic love, but unconditional inner radiant love. Love for life, for being, for self. This emotion raises your vibration faster than logic ever could. It lifts you beyond resistance, beyond fear, and in that high vibration, the reality you once dreamed of begins to feel natural, even inevitable. Oh, that's the key. It must feel natural. The emotion you hold makes it so. Peace, too, is a frequency often overlooked. Peace is powerful. It is not passive. Peace says, I no longer need to struggle. I trust the unfolding, and in that trust that is released, and in that release, manifestation flows faster, clearer, with less effort, because creation does not respond to force. It responds to surrender, to faith, to emotional alignment. Do not manifest by thinking harder. You manifest by feeling deeper. Thought is the blueprint. Emotion is the builder. The more you feel in harmony with your desired reality, the more swiftly it is constructed in your world. You must not wait for the thing to happen to feel good. You must feel good to allow the thing to happen. Imagine the person you wish to become. How do they feel? What emotions fill their day? Start there. Begin to generate those emotions now, even before anything has changed. Because in truth, the inner change is the cause. The outer result is the effect. Emotion moves reality. Emotion is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. When you align emotionally with what you desire, you shorten the distance between you and the out. Time is no longer the barrier vibration is, and when your emotional vibration matches your imagined future, time collapses. The future becomes. Now let this be your practice, not to force manifestations, but to feel your way into them, to choose the highest emotions, even when nothing has changed. To live from the inside out, not the outside in, because when you choose gratitude in the absence of reason, you become magnetic. When you choose joy before the breakthrough, you bring the breakthrough closer. When you choose love before the healing, you activate healing. You are not powerless. You're not stuck. You are a creative force shaping your life with every feeling you sustain. So feel wisely. Feel richly. Let emotion be your tool, your guide, your magic. Emotions are energy and emotion in you. By feeling on purpose can move your world. Imagination is not fantasy. It is not mere daydreaming or mental escape. Imagination is the original act of creation. Everything that exists in your life right now began first in the unseen world of thought, shaped by the silent power of imagination. Before anything becomes form, it must first be accepted in consciousness. What you vividly imagine and emotionally accept as true plants the seed of your future experience. The world you see is nothing more than the harvest of what you once imagined and believed. Many believe the world is shaped by action, by effort, by external striving. But those are effects, not causes. The true cause lies deeper. All creation begins in the invisible. The mind is the womb, the inner world, the workshop. It is not what you do for hours that shapes your destiny. It is what you dwell upon in the secret place of your mind. Imagination is not idle. It is active. It is spiritual. It is the divine gift that allows you to rise above circumstance and see the world not as it is, but as it could be. And in that, seeing you make it so. When you imagine something clearly in detail and add to it the feeling of reality, The sensation that it is already yours. You trigger a shift in vibration. And when your vibration changes, the world responds. You do not have to wait for permission. You do not need proof. The outer world always lags behind the inner vision. So many delay their transformation because they are waiting for evidence. But the evidence comes after the seed is sown, and the seed is your imagined scene. It is your vision felt as real, accepted without doubt. Whatever you persist in imagining with faith becomes law in your world. This is why idle worry is danger. When you imagine things going wrong, when you rehearse fears and worst-case scenarios, you are planting seeds to weed only weeds, not flowers. Your imagination does not care whether you use it to build or to destroy, it simply obeys. It receives the command through feeling not well. The secret then is not just to imagine, but to imagine with emotion. You must feel your scene as though it is happening now. You must enter it so completely in your inner world that the outer world becomes. The senses may still reflect the old story, but you remain loyal to the vision, knowing it is only a matter of time before the world reshapes itself to match your inner assumption. Imagination is more than visualization. It is full embodiment. It is hearing the sounds, seeing the colors, feeling the textures of your desired reality. It is holding the end in mind and living from it mentally rather than towards it physically. You assume it is done. You let go of the need to figure out how, and in that surrender, creation begins to move. Think of imagination. As a spiritual blueprint, you are always building something. The question is, are you building consciously or unconsciously? Are you imagining based on past disappointments or based on new intention? The future does not come from what you have known. It comes from what you see and feel in the stillness of your own mind. That do not underestimate this power. The world honors action, but action follows vision. When you imagine rightly inspired, action arises effortlessly. You are led. You are guided, the right people, the right moments. The right doors begin to appear not because you forced them, but because your inner world. Among them, creation is not something you wait for. It is something you initiate. Imagination is the seed. Feeling is the water. Faith is the light. And time is the soil that brings it all together. So imagine, and imagine boldly. Refuse to return to the past. Let your mind dwell only on what is lovely, noble, and true. What you vividly imagine and emotionally accept as real, without doubt, without resistance, must come to pass. It is law. It is your gift. Use it well. The truth of who you are has never changed. It cannot be tarnished, diminished, or lost, only forgotten beneath the noise of the world, beneath fear, doubt, and limitation. There is a core within you that is pure light, pure power, pure knowing. And the closer you come to that truth, the faster your vibration rises. High vibration is not something you earn or chase. It is what you return to. It is your natural state, your original frequency, before you were taught otherwise. From the moment you arrived in this world, the world began to shape you. You were told what was possible, what was practical, what was safe. You were conditioned to believe in lack, in struggle, and separation from your desires. You were trained to slow your energy, to blend into a world that forgot its own divinity, but deep within, something never forgot, something always remembered. That spark is your true self, and it is always calling you home. High vibration is the signal of that remembrance. It's what you feel when you are in alignment, when you're no longer resisting the truth of your being. It's the quiet joy that arises when you follow your intuition. It's the peace you feel when you release control. It's the surge of inspiration, of love, of presence. These are not passing emotions. They are echoes of your essence. They are reminders that you are more than flesh, more than history, more than circumstances. The lower vibrations, fear, anger, shame, guilt, are not your enemies, but they are not your home either. There are signals, indicators that you are living in a version of yourself that was handed to you, not chosen by you. There are teachers showing you where you are out of alignment. The pain is not punishment, it is feedback, and the faster you learn to observe it, honor it, and release it, the faster you rise. You do not have to force high vibration. You only have to stop clinging to what keeps you low. You are not meant to carry the burdens of your past. You are not meant to wear masks to please the world. You are not meant to doubt your power, your worth, your beauty. These are illusions taught, reinforced, and repeated until they seemed real. But the truth never left you. It simply waits for your return. The more you align with your authentic self, the one who feels deeply, who speaks truthfully, who dreams without apology, the faster your vibration becomes. And with that speed comes clarity. you begin to see life differently. Opportunities appear, relationships shift, circumstances respond. You don't have to chase outcomes. They begin to move toward you, drawn by the resonance of your truth. To live at a high vibration is to live lightly, not because life is always easy, but because you no longer resist it. You meet each moment with presence, not panic. You trust the unfolding not because you know the details, but because you know who you are. You've stopped identifying with the noise. And you've remembered the stillness beneath it. The fastest way to raise your vibration is to return to what is real. Gratitude, compassion, joy, trust. Not because these make you better, but because they reveal who you've always been. You are not trying to become something new. You are peeling away what is false. You are unlearning the illusion and reclaiming the true. So when the world feels heavy, pause, go within, feel the breath. Remember who you are. High vibration is not a destination. It is the frequency of your being. When you stop pretending to be anything less, you are light. You are love. You are limitless. Let everything else fall away. Faith is not a matter of hoping that something might happen. It is the inner certainty that it already has. It is the quiet conviction that defies logic. The stillness that remains even when the senses scream otherwise. Faith is not passive. It is not waiting. It is an active state of inner knowing, a deliberate assumption of the desired outcome as already real, felt deeply and without doubt. It is the invisible substance from which all visible things are shaped. When you feel the wish fulfilled, you are not asking life to bring you something. You are affirming that it already belongs to you. And that feeling is the key. It is not enough to repeat words to visualize an outcome or to recite affirmations like a ritual. These are only shells unless they are filled with emotion. It is the feeling that moves mountains. It is the inner atmosphere that creates the outer change. You do not manifest what you want. You manifest what you believe, and belief is not just thought. It is embodied emotional truth. To believe with faith means to walk through your day as if the thing were already done. You are no longer looking for signs. You are becoming the sign. You are no longer asking if it's working. You are living from the end, knowing it has already worked. Most people delay their manifestation because they keep waiting for the external world to confirm the internal desire. They look to the mirror and ask it to smile first, but the mirror can only reflect. The moment you believe from within, truly believe without needing proof. The outer must conform. The law cannot be broken. The outer world is not cause, it is effect. It follows your conviction like a shadow. Faith requires that you detach from the how and the when. These are the domains of the intellect, not the imagination. The mind wants a timeline. The soul knows better. It moves in trust. It rests in the unseen. When you live in faith, you are no longer negotiating with reality. You are not hoping. You are dwelling in the feeling of it already being true. And that is enough to feel the wish fulfilled, is to touch the invisible realm and claim it as your own. You close your eyes and see clearly. You feel deeply, fully, without resistance. You allow yourself to be taken over by the mood of the outcome. You rehearse not the problem, but the solution, not the lack, but the abundance. You've become the one who already has it already lives. It already knows it to be theirs. This is not fantasy, it is creation. You are not escaping reality. You are forming it. Faith is the spiritual substance that calls things unseen into form. You don't need to convince others or even yourself in words. The feeling does the work. It anchors the unseen the moment you feel the wish fulfilled. Manifestation begins not when it arrives, not when it shows up on your doorstep, but in the moment you dwell in it as real. It may take time to appear, but that is no concern of yours. The seed takes time to sprout, but its emergence is certain. Your only job is to remain faithful to the feeling. Stay loyal to the unseen. Do not be shaken by appearances. Do not argue with delay. These are tests of persistence, not evidence of failure. Keep returning to the state of the wish fulfilled. Keep breathing life into your vision with feeling. What you feel consistently becomes fact. That is the quiet power of faith. It does not ask, it declares. It does not hope, it assumes. And in that assumption, life rearranges itself to match your inner truth. Persistence is the key that unlocks the door between the unseen and the seen. It is not enough to assume, once to imagine, once to feel, once the creative power of the inner world is activated by repetition, by sustained belief, unwavering focus, and the refusal to be swayed by appearances. What you assume with consistency becomes the law of your world, for consciousness is the only reality. An assumption is its blueprint. Reassume action. When felt as true, begins to clothe itself in form. But between the assumption and its full manifestation, there is often a gap. And in this gap lies the test. The temptation to doubt, to abandon the vision, to return to the evidence of the senses. Yet it is in that very moment. That persistence must rise to persist in the assumption, to remain loyal to the unseen truth, regardless of what the outer world reflects. Back to you, the world is a mirror, not a master. It does not dictate your reality. It reflects it. What you assume to be true inwardly, the world will echo. But it cannot do so instantly in all cases. For time is the cushion that allows the unseen to become seen. Do not be discouraged by the lag. Do not measure your success by how quickly things appear. Measure it by how unwaveringly you can remain faithful to your inner state. Persistence is not struggle. It is not forcing, it is not efforted in fear or desperation. It is calm, focused, dwelling in the end. It is the quiet power of the one who knows, who rests in the inner conviction that what is imagined and accepted must come to pass, even if the outer seems unchanged. You remain unchanged in your assumption. You do not explain, you do not seek reassurance. You simply continue to feel the wish fulfilled. When you persist in your assumption, you are training the subconscious mind, and the subconscious is the servant that never sleeps. It does not argue. It accepts what is impressed upon it with feeling and repetition, and once impressed, it sets the wheels in motion through people, events, and circumstances to bring your assumption into form. But this process cannot complete itself. If you constantly undo the work with doubt or contradiction, to assume something is not to wish for it, but to live from it. You think from the end, not of the end. You move through life as though it were already, so you react as the person who already lives in the desired state. This is persistence. Not in thought alone, but in feeling and identity, in inner know. Thing. You become it before it becomes visible. Do not be fooled by appearances that contradict your assumption. The world often rearranges itself through what looks like chaos or opposition, but if you persist, what seemed like delay or denial will reveal itself as part of the unfolding. The key is not to react to what is, but to remain faithful to what you've chosen within. You must persist even when you feel nothing is happening, even when the world seems to shout the opposite, even when doubt knocks and fear whispers. You return again and again to your chosen state. You rehearse it, you dwell in it, you affirm it, not because you need to convince the world, but because you are commanding it. This is the law. What you assume consistently and unwaveringly must become your experience, not because you are lucky, not because the world has changed, but because you are no longer living from circumstance. You are living from consciousness. And consciousness shapes reality, so persist not with tension, but with faith, not with impatience, but with knowing what you persist in, assuming you inevitably become. When you choose to vibrate higher, you do more than just feel good. You align with the deepest truth of who you are. You no longer face reality you shape. Your imagination becomes your workshop. Your emotions become your compass, and your unwavering faith becomes the bridge between the invisible and the visible. The outer world becomes a reflection, no longer a dictator, and you become the master of your own experience. You do not manifest by effort, but by assumption. You do not wait for proof. You live as though it is already done. Every thought, every feeling, every act of inner persistence is a seed planted in the unseeded, and when watered, with belief, with feeling, with patience, it must grow. Remember, you do not attract what you want, but what you are being, so become it now. Feel it now, assume it. Now let the vibration of your desired reality flow through your inner world and trust that the outer must follow. This is not hope, it is law. Thank you for listening. May you go forward boldly, vibrating higher, manifesting faster, and living as a creator you were always meant to be. Everything begins within before the mansion is built, before the wealth is accumulated. Before the success is broadcasted to the world, it is first imagined. Imagination is not a passive daydream. It is a creative act. It is the divine faculty through which we mold our world to feel like a millionaire before the 1,000 arrive. You must train yourself to imagine differently, deliberately, and persistently. You are not waiting for life to hand you riches. You are commanding reality to express your inner convictions. What you consistently imagine yourself to be, you become, not because imagination is wishful thinking, but because it is the cause of all outward expression. The world you see is not separate from your consciousness. It is shaped by it, colored by it, and projected by it. When you consistently hold the image of yourself as wealthy, successful, and free, you are not pretending you are creating, you are rewriting the unseen blueprint that governs the events of your life. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. You are aligning yourself with the deeper truth, a higher identity, one that already exists within you. The problem is not that people imagine too much, but that they imagine the wrong things. They see debt, so they feel poor. They see struggle, so they assume lack. But the senses only confirm the past. Imagination reveals the future. To truly be wealthy, you must ignore the evidence of the senses and become loyal to your inner vision. This is not denial. It is mastery. It is the secret the world overlooks. Let your imagination become your sanctuary. Visit it often, sit in silence, and ask yourself, what would my life look like if I were already a millionaire? Do not answer with logic. Feel it. Experience it in full color. Walk through your dream home. Sit in the comfort of your favorite chair. See your bank balance reflecting abundance. Hear the words of admiration spoken about you. Feel the security, the power, the joy of having more than enough. This practice is not to get rich in the tradition, since it is to become inwardly rich now. It is to enter the state where money is not something you chase. It is something that flows to you as a natural response to your consciousness. The outer world will catch up, but only if you do not waver. Return daily to your inner sanctuary. Build the habit of seeing yourself as wealthy. Do not do it to impress the world. Do it to awaken the truth within you. Wealth is not something you achieve. It is something you express, and expression begins in imagination. The world will follow your lead when you lead from within. Imagination is not the escape from reality. It is the foundation of it. Dare to imagine boldly, and reality must conform. This is the true power hidden in plain sight. Your imagination is the gateway to reality. The key to transformation is not effort, but identification. You must stop reaching for your desires as if they are somewhere far away. Instead, bring them into the present by assuming they are already yours. Do not wait for the millions to feel abundant. Feel abundant now, and the millions will have no choice but to show up. Living in the end means occupying the state of your fulfilled desire mentally, emotionally, spiritually, before there is any evidence in the physical world. It means thinking from your goal, not about your goal. You do not try to become wealthy, you become it in consciousness. You no longer ask, when will it happen? You begin to live as if it has already happened. This is not pretending it is creating. You are not faking anything. You are faithfully inhabiting a reality that already exists on a higher level. Your job is not to force it into existence, but to assume the position of one who already possesses it. Ask yourself daily, if I were already a millionaire, how would I think, speak, move, and feel? What decisions would I make? What would I no longer worry about? What would I expect? Living in the end requires that you allow these answers to shape your behavior right now, not someday in the future. Your inner world must reflect the truth of your fulfilled desire, even when the outer world has not yet caught up. Living in the end is an act of radical faith. It is choosing to prioritize your inner conviction over external conditions. And here is the paradox. Once you truly live in the end, the outer world begins to rearrange itself to match your new identity. The world cannot help but yield to your dominant state of being. This state must become natural. It should feel so real to you that you no longer question it. You no longer hope for wealth. You move through your day with the confidence of someone who already has it. You no longer seek signs. You are the sign. The world reflects who you are being, not what you are wanting. When doubts arise, and they will, do not fight them. Simply return to the state. Enter the end in your imagination. See it. Feel it. Dwell in it. Let it soothe you and guide you. Let the feeling of the wish fulfilled be your resting place. When this becomes your default state, life begins to bend around your new identity. Understand this. Your desire was not given to torment you. It was given to awaken you. It is a seed from a higher realm, and it comes complete with all that is required for its fulfillment. But you must nourish it by living as though it is already so. So today, make the decision. Stop postponing your wealth. Step into the feeling of already being that which you desire. Don't wait for the end. Live in the end. And from that place, all things are not only possible, they are inevitable. Wealth is not a number in a bank account. It is a state of being. It is not something you acquire. It is something you embody when you assume the feeling of the wish fulfill. You no longer act as someone who is striving for success. You become the person who already possesses it, and in the becoming, the outer world must rearrange itself to mirror your inner transformation. Your emotional state is creative. It sends out a silent signal to the universe, and that signal is always being answered when you feel poor, needy, or lacking. Even if you mask it with positive words, you are still declaring, "I do not have," and the world echoes back that truth. But when you feel rich, secure, and abundant, regardless of your current circumstances, you are broadcasting a new signal, one that commands reality to follow. Assumption is not about effort or force. It is about surrendering into the truth of the desired state. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled means to dwell in the emotional atmosphere of already having what you desire. It is feeling as though your desire has already been realized, and living from that conviction. You don't wait for evidence to feel differently. You feel differently first, and then the evidence appears. This is the great reversal that most never understand. The world teaches you to react, but creation demands that you lead. You must feel the result before the result can show itself. Feel rich now, and the world must catch up. Imagine what it would feel like if money were no longer a concern. Let that feeling rise in your body. Would you feel relieved, grateful, free? Would you walk differently, speak with more certainty, sleep more peacefully? That feeling is the key. It is not fantasy, it is the blueprint. You must move into that state, occupy it fully, and let it become familiar. And here's the beautiful secret. You can do this now. No one can stop you from entering the state of wealth in your mind. You don't need permission. You don't need the current balance in your bank account to change. You need only to accept emotionally and mentally that you are what you desire to be. When the feeling becomes natural, the world responds. It may not happen instantly, but it must happen. The laws of creation are exact. Persist in the assumption and do not let temporary appearances shake your inner conviction. The longer you remain in the state, the more inevitable its expression becomes. So practice this daily. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and step into the version of you who is already rich. Not tomorrow, not later now. Feel the warmth of abundance, the confidence, the calm power of wealth. Let it clothe your mind. Let it become who you are. You are not chasing wealth. You are revealing it. The treasure is already within. You assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and your world will reshape itself in perfect harmony with the truth. You now dare to feel one of the greatest obstacles to manifestation is the mind's insistence on controlling the past. It wants to know how everything will happen, when it will arrive, and through whom. But that need to micromanage life is what keeps your desire at arm's length. The truth is, the path to $1,000 is not your concern. It is not your job to figure out how abundance will reach you. Your only responsibility is to remain loyal to the state of already being wealthy. Desire does not come alone. It carries with it the means of its own fulfillment. The moment you truly desire something and assume it has already done, the unseen begins to move, and visible currents shift people, opportunities, and events begin to align. But these movements happen beyond your line of sight. You may not see the orchestration, but it is happening nonetheless. When you constantly ask how, you are declaring that you do not trust the process. You are telling the universe, "I do not believe this can happen unless I control every step." And so you block the flow, you introduce doubt, tension, and fear. You step out of the end state and into the waiting state. And in doing so, you delay your own manifestation. Eventually, detachment from the how is not indifference, it is wisdom. It is knowing that your imagination is the seed, and your assumption is the soil. Once planted, your only job is to remain faithful to what you've created within. You do not dig up the seed to check if it's growing. You water it with confidence. You nourish it with repetition. You protect it from dour. Faith is demonstrated by rest. If you truly believed you were already wealthy, you wouldn't worry about the mechanics. You wouldn't obsess over the next step. You would trust that all things are working for your good, even if you cannot yet see how. No. You would move with quite certainty. You would live your life with a calm assurance that what you've imagined is already on its way. Miracles often arrive through the most ordinary channels. You may receive a phone call, a job offer, a new connection, or even a seemingly random idea. But these are not accidents. They are the result of your inner state. Do not try to predict how it will unfold. Simply remain in the feeling of being wealthy now, and allow the path to reveal itself in its own time and form. Let go of the timeline. Let go of the need to plan every detail. Let go of the urge to doubt when things seem still. Trust that the stillness is not stagnation. It is preparation. The invisible is organizing on your behalf. Doors will open, and you will know which one to walk through when the moment comes. Stay loyal to the end. That is your only task. Feel it, live it, believe it. The how will take care of itself. Life is not asking you to control it, only to align with it. Detach from the how, and you will witness the impossible become inevitable. Words are not just sounds. They are declarations of identity. Every time you speak, whether aloud or silently in your mind, you are casting a vote for the version of yourself you believe in. If you want to experience the life of a millionaire, you must begin to speak from that reality. Not about it as a distant goal, but from it as a present truth. There is a powerful difference between saying one day I'll be rich and saying I am wealthy now. The former places your desire in the future, always just out of reach. The latter anchors it in the present, where creation actually occurs. You are not trying to become something, you are affirming that you already are. This is where most people go wrong. They speak about what they want, complain about what they don't have, and talk about lack as if it were unchangeable. They beg, wish, and hope, not realizing that these postures only reinforce their current state. But to truly shift your reality, you must speak from the place you wish to occupy. You must claim it in thought, word, and feeling. Imagine the inner dialogue of someone who already possesses great wealth. Would they worry about bills? Would they obsess over price tags? Would they speak in terms of struggle and limitation? No. Their words would reflect confidence, peace, generosity, and abundance. Begin to speak in this way, and you align your vibration with the very reality you wish to enter. Let your inner conversations be filled with certainty, not desire. When you talk to yourself, and you do all day long, let those quiet conversations reflect your new identity. Say to yourself, I always have more than enough. Money flows easily to me. I make decisions from a place of power. I am blessed beyond measure. You are not lying. Even when appearances contradict, your words persist. Speak from the end result, not from the temporary facts. Creation is not confirmed by what you see. It is confirmed by what you declare. You are not waiting for proof. You are giving life to truth. When challenges arise, do not fall back into old patterns of speech. Speak as the version of yourself who already knows how this story ends. You are not the character trying to win. You are the one who has already won. Let your tone, your energy, your words reflect that reality. Speak with calm authority. Speak with joy. Speak with unshakable belief. Every word you speak carves out your future. Use them wisely. Stop telling the story of struggle. Start telling the story of success. Let the language of wealth become natural to you. Not just in affirmations, but in your ordinary conversations, in your private thoughts, and in your daily choices. You don't need the world to validate you. You need only to remain true to the version of yourself that already exists in imagination. Speak from it, and life will follow your voice. The universe responds to identity, not effort. So speak now. Not as someone who hopes to be a millionaire, but as one who already is. Manifestation is not a momentary flash of inspiration. It is a steady, deliberate act of faith. The difference between those who manifest their desires and those who fall short is not talent, luck, or external circumstances. It is persistence. Doubt delays, but persistence creates. You must remain loyal to your imagined reality until it becomes the only truth you recognize. To persist means to occupy the state of your fulfilled desire again and again, regardless of what your senses tell you. The world around you may scream the opposite of your vision. Your bank account might not yet reflect abundance. Circumstances may appear unchanged, but the persistent one does not waver. They continue to walk, speak, and feel as though their desire is already fat. This is the secret. What you consistently accept as true within must eventually become true. Without, the world cannot resist your sustained inner conviction. But most people give up too soon. They plant the seed of wealth in their imagination, but when results don't appear instantly, they dig it up with doubt. They let the visible override the invisible. And so they start over again and again, never allowing the new state to take root. But if you will persist quietly, confidently, without needing evidence, you will see your assumption harden into fact. It may come slowly at first, like a distant echo, a small shift here, a new opportunity there. But soon the momentum builds. Life begins to reshape itself around your dominant state. The outer world conforms to the inner blueprint. Persistence is not about force, it's about faithfulness. You are remaining faithful to your new identity, not because you are trying to make something happen, but because you know it already has. There is nothing to chase, only something to become. You live as the millionaire now, Not tomorrow, not someday, but now you buy in your imagination. You live in gratitude. You think from abundance. You do this again and again until it becomes natural, and when it becomes natural, it becomes real. With great manifestation begins with persistence. The dreamer holds to their dream through silence, through setbacks, through appearances. They trust the unseen more than the seen. They speak wealth into being even when no one else sees it. They are not moved by facts. They are anchored in truth, and that truth is simple. You already are what you desire to be. It is done. The only thing left is to remain in that knowing long enough for the outer world to catch up. You don't need to beg, hustle, or prove anything. You only need to persist. So hold the image, feel the feeling, speak the words, walk in the assumption and do it until there is no room for doubt, until it becomes effortless, until the inner becomes outer. Reality will bend, the world will conform, and what once lived only in your imagination will stand before you as fact. So now you know. The millionaire version of you is not waiting somewhere in the distance. It is here, now ready to be claimed. Your wealth does not begin with action, but with being. You become it in thought. You assume it in feeling. You express it in speech, and you remain faithful to it in imagination until the unseen becomes seen. Live in the end. Assume the feeling. Detach from the how. Speak from it. Persist without wavering. This is the divine formula. This is the path walked by those who understand that reality begins within, no matter where you are right now. Know this, your current circumstances are not the final word. You are the operant power. The authority over your life rests in your ability to feel a new state, to inhabit it, and to trust it until it becomes flesh. Dare to believe that what you imagine is more real than what you see. Dare to remain faithful to your inner vision in a world that insists you be realistic, and dare above all to feel. Now what you once reserved for the future, because when you feel it now, the future must obey. Thank you. Thank you for opening your heart to this message. Thank you for daring to dream bigger. And thank you for choosing right now to step into the most powerful truth of all. You already are what you desire to be. The rest is just catching up.